Hello, hello. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday. Today, come on in the room. Thank you guys for coming in and joining me today, this Monday. I have a fantastic conversation that I want to dive in with you guys. Something that was just on my mind, so I wrote down some quick notes to be able to go through these things with you all. So if you are here today, don't keep scrolling. Go ahead, stop through. Let me know that you're in the room. Let me know who you are, where you're viewing from. If you're coming here off of the replay, then go ahead and type in replay if you're watching this at a later time. You guys know, like, I should have brought some water in here with me. So I am in my office, my home office, my original home office, y'all, because you guys know that I've been abroad for a while, and later this week I'm going back abroad, but I've had the opportunity to come home for a little bit and get back into my space. Right, get back into my space. So for those who do not know me, my name is Savannah DeBarros. I am the owner and founder of S.L. DeBarros Law Firm, where I represent multi-7 and 8-figure business clients, helping them to protect their interests through contracts, litigation, and intellectual property representation. So guys, today I'm going to be talking about how to enforce your contracts without going to court. Yes, I said it. How to enforce your contracts without going to court. But before I go there, I just want to say that, listen, if you are a 7-figure business owner, if you are an 8-figure business owner, and I'm going to just go back and say if you are a 6-figure business owner, don't feel like you're in the wrong room, because here's the thing. Even as a 6-figure business owner, if you aspire to become a 7-figure, 8-figure business owner, these are things that you need to know. And I'm going to dispel a myth for you and just let you know that even multi-7-figure and 8-figure business owners still do not know how to properly enforce their contracts. Okay? I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. That is what it is. All right? So this is a skill that you need to have as a CEO. I'm not saying an entrepreneur, as a CEO, someone who is running and operating their business, or who is empowering other people to manage the business on your behalf. All right. So we're going to be talking about how to enforce your contracts without going to court. Now, I have been an attorney for 11 years. I have been a litigator, meaning someone who goes to court and tries cases. Although I handle transactional matters, and when I say transactional, I'm talking about things that happen outside of me going to court. I use those litigation skills to help my clients to navigate certain language in their contracts. Now, some of the things that I have seen over the years with business people, CEOs, is that sometimes they don't go through this process of contract enforcement because they're afraid to go to court. They don't want to go to court. And I'm not saying that that's not a necessary step to take. What I'm saying to you guys is that you can enforce your contracts without going to court. All right. But beware. Sometimes the ultimate enforcer is taking it to court, and you cannot be afraid to do that. But let's talk about what happens prior to the court situation coming into play. Are we good with that? All right, let's dive in. So what do you typically do when someone breaks your contract? I have seen people, pretty much take to the internet and talk about how pissed off they are, which they may have every right in doing that. But that is not going to solve anything. At this point, if someone breaks your contract, you have entered the stage of legal drama. Contract drama 101. Maybe you sell a product or you provided a service to someone. They have reaped the benefit of whatever it is that you have provided to them, but for some reason they do not want to pay you, or they say, well, I don't think what you provided me equals to the value that you have charged me. Okay, let's just put that out there. So essentially they have breached, we say breach in the legal world, but they've broken their promise, right? A contract is nothing but a promise. You promise to pay me X amount of dollars, and then I promise to provide you with this service or this product for the money that I'm telling you I want for it, right? So what do you do when someone breaks that promise? Like I said, some people take to the internet and they talk about it. Some people send a text message, right? So if we look at people who are in business that are relatives or have been long-term friends, the dispute process of this contract being broken now becomes an issue that is more fuel based on their own personal animosity. Okay, that's not how you handle things. So I want to just tell you, if you do not have a contract, if you are engaging in business as a CEO, a serious CEO, and for my multi-six-figure CEOs who are operating at 700,000-800,000, and you are at that level of close, you're being close to hit that 7-figure, you cannot afford to be engaging in business with someone without having a quality contract. I don't care if those people are volunteering, they need to be on a contract. Now, there are other issues that can come into play that I'm not going to be talking about on this particular live, but if you don't even have a contract, what I'm talking about today is not going to serve you. So if you do not have a contract, this is not going to serve you. All right. So what you should be doing when someone breaks a contract is remembering what brought you together in the first place. Right. And that means going to that person and having a reasonable and friendly approach to them to say, hey, I see that you haven't done X, Y, and Z. Let's hop on a call or let me know if there's an issue that you're having so that we can resolve it. That is really how you should be approaching things, instead of pretty much jumping right out the window like, oh, I'm about to get on them, I'm about to get my money. You know good and well that you were supposed to do X, Y, and Z. It is not going to help solve anything. So I want you to think about your business, your partnerships, the people that you bring into your business, maybe vendors, right? I want you to think about the excitement that you had when you decided to engage with them. And when you think about that relationship, you should be thinking along the lines of that, for the full duration of your business relationship, about trying to maintain the veracity of that relationship. And you as a CEO do not want to act in a way that is counterintuitive to your own interest. And you don't want to damage your own professional reputation by acting a certain way through your enforcement practices, right? So think back to how you felt when you engaged with this particular company or person to do whatever it is that your contract is calling for. And make sure that you check your own personal feelings, right? Before you reach out, before you bring up an issue that is part of your deal, so that you're not coming off in a way that automatically they're not going to respond to, right? So you have to be mindful of that. You have to be mindful of that. Now, another thing that you need to consider is, who is it that you're willing to talk to? Because sometimes the people that you may go to say, hey, X, Y, and Z was supposed to happen in this contract, and I see that you haven't been able to do this. They may not be the right people to talk to, and they may not be the right people to get that information across. So there could be a breakdown in communication internally for the other party. Okay, so you want to have be very clear on who it is that's supposed to come to the table to have these conversations with you. Otherwise, you are going to become frustrated. You are going to feel like no one is responding to you, and that you're being ignored, while all the while it's really an internal breakdown of communication. Maybe people have left. Let's say that you're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar industry. There is a lot of turnover oftentimes, right? So someone who may have helped to move your contract along to get that deal closed may not be the same person that you were dealing with in the first place. So make sure that you have the right person on the phone. But the biggest takeaway I want you to understand is that when someone breaks your contract, don't go straight for the jugular. Don't go straight for the jugular, y'all. Okay, I know you want to. I know you want your money. But also remember this saying that you can catch more flies with honey. Okay, I was born and raised in the country, and I heard that so many times. So you want to be as friendly and as reasonable as possible, also keeping your long-term interest in mind. You don't want to completely, push people off to a point where they just feel like, oh, well, we're not going to talk to them. We might as well go ahead and get counsel involved, because that's really what it's going to come to, right? If that's how you're coming off, all right? So in the same breath, you don't want to send a threatening email. And threatening emails don't work for the same reason why I just said this, right? If you are the primary person or you've empowered someone in your business to do contract enforcement for you, you want to be reasonable. You want to think about your brand. You want to think about your brand reputation. You want to make sure that you are fully in alignment with how you're presenting your brand in the bigger scheme of things, right? Because how you handle one dispute could flow into whether you're able to pick up additional work, right? Now, I'm gonna tell you like this. There are some companies that may still refer you even though they did wrong by you. Some people have the emotional intelligence and the aptitude enough to say, you know what, our deal didn't work out, but I still think that this might be a great connection for you. So you never know. The same company who didn't do right by you could end up referring you to someone. Now, whether you want to deal with their referral or not is a completely different story. But you do not want to tarnish your own brand reputation just by responding in a way that could be detrimental to your long-term interests. Okay? So when you pick up that phone and you make a call, make sure if it's not you, the person on the other end understands how they need to communicate regarding a breach of that contract. And I would not use legalese, right? You're not a lawyer. You don't want to sound like you're gonna sue them right away. You want to sound friendly. You want to sound like someone who is ready to try and resolve whatever issues are there. Maybe it's something internal that came up and people just completely forgot, right? They forgot to reach out to you. They forgot to tell you, to give you whatever the change was, whatever the situation may be. So you don't want to come in sounding like a lawyer, especially if you're not a lawyer, because you don't want to be off-putting. Same thing goes with your email. You want to be careful about your tone in this email, all right? Because if you are coming at them in a way that is disruptive to the relationship that you've already built, in a way that they feel like, oh my God, I thought we were getting in business with someone who fill in the blank based on character, right? That could completely turn them off. Not saying that it gives them a legal right to breach their duties. Like I said, you don't want to end up tearing down the long-term opportunities that you could have, because it could just be a mishap in the fact that someone missed something, the reason why they have technically breached the agreement. All right. So technically and generally, when we're looking at companies who deal in products, we say giving them time to cure defects, right? So if you are a manufacturer or you order products from a manufacturer that you're then going to sell on the market, but when you get those products, you see that there's a huge defect in the products that you've ordered and you cannot deliver them, you would give or should be giving the manufacturer a reasonable time to cure such defects. Well, the same thing goes for services, right? For partnerships. Give people a reasonable time to try and cure whatever the issue is that is at hand so that relationship can move forward. And then hopefully you can get to a place where you have decided, okay, well, this relationship has either come to a close because that's what the contract calls for, or the contract allows for the parties to modify. Maybe, what the issues have been resolved, all the obligations have been met. And so maybe this is a place where the parties can decide to go ahead and close out this relationship. Or you may decide that you want to move forward, right? So disputes always show us whether we're able to continue in business with a particular party or not. And I'll tell you, and I'm going to take it personally, right? Even in a personal relationship, you can always tell whether certain relationships are built to last based on how people respond in times of adversary. So if the same thing is true for business, which it is, if people are able to come to the table and resolve disputes reasonably and timely, that will not subject either of you to situations where either one of your brands would end up suffering economically, because typically that's where it happens. People lose money, right? If you're breaching your agreement, then this might be a situation where you realize, oh my God, okay, we had a disagreement. There was technically a breach, but they were able to resolve this to get back on the, get back on the horse and get things moving. This is someone that I would be willing to do business with long term, because now you know how they're going to act, what are their mannerisms, what are their characteristics, right? When hard things come to the table, can they bring their full on business aptitude and professionalism to that space to resolve and to move in a direction that is favorable for all of the parties involved. All right. So be mindful of how you respond orally on the phone, but also in emails, in writing. You have to be careful. And so these are some of the things that I talk about in my 3-step approach to getting paid without legal drama, y'all. So I created a blueprint for CEOs to help you guys go through this 3-step process for enforcing your contracts. Now, obviously, it involves a whole lot more than you just, reaching out on that first step to try and resolve and to really see what's going on. But it's something that you can implement inside of your business right now. Right now. If you have lost money, because people haven't paid you, if there's been a discrepancy in terms of what people thought they were going to get, but what they actually paid for, this is a perfect opportunity for you to put some type of process in your business so that you know how enforcement is going to play a role, right, in your business. We're not talking about just making money today. We're talking about safeguarding cash flow, period. We're talking about protecting profits, period. We're talking about building legacies. And you can't build a legacy from an empty cup. You can't be out here working and giving all of your service and giving the products that you create and source away for $0, and then people getting the benefit of that and walking away. So you gotta have a reasonable process that is in place to help you to get started. And these are some of the ways that you can already do that without having to go to court. It costs you absolutely nothing, y'all. It costs you nothing. So if you want a copy of this blueprint, go ahead and I'm going to put it in the chat, but it is on this, it's on this live. You can go and download this blueprint right now, Get Paid on Time. So it's bit.ly/get paid on time. It is case sensitive, so get paid on time needs to be in all caps. And I walk you through a 3-step process. Now, this 3-step process involves the first step that I just told you about. Okay? And it also has 2 additional steps involved before there's court that's brought up. But I'm going to tell you this, even before court is brought up, even if you bring a lawyer into the mix, as a trial lawyer, one of the things I always do for my clients, when I know that they have tried to reach out and they have tried to enforce their contracts, they've tried to resolve issues without getting legal involved, I always still take that next step and issue a letter myself. Because sometimes people perk up and say, okay, they're serious, they're getting counsel involved, and they start to think about the cost of litigation and the time that it takes, right? The time that it takes. But for those of you who are kind of walking away and saying, well, you know what? God got me. Yes, he does. But he also didn't put you on this earth to give your gift away for free either. Okay? Like if you're trying to build something for your family, you can't sit here and allow other people to do injustice to you by technically stealing your service and your products from you. Okay? So don't be that naive to just think that your gift was meant for people to walk all over it, because it's not. So if you're one of those people that's spiritual and biblical, I'm here to tell you, you deserve to enforce the things that God gave you. Okay? You deserve to protect those things. All right? So download the Get Paid on Time blueprint so you can start implementing this process in your business. As a multi-7, 8-figure business owners that I have represented, y'all, there are still some of these companies out here who do not have proper enforcement plans, which is why I created this. Do it, implement it, and you will not be sorry. And if you do get to a place where you need counsel, you're in a better position to show what you have done to enforce this. And if you do have to file a case, courts love to see that a party has tried to resolve it. And in most jurisdictions, if you do go in court and you file a case and you win the case and you are the one to try and resolve this through settlement, if you win, you will likely get more fees because of that. All right. So, hey, it's a reason for everything. It is a reason for everything. I'm Sylvania Burrows. I hope that this has supported you and will support you. I want you guys to go ahead and get your blueprint right now. It is free. It does not cost you anything. It does not cost you anything. And until next time, guys, I will see you later. Bye. Ciao.